Hello everyone, welcome to ENbreezEN, the daily current affairs program by Team Enlight. In this session, we are going to discuss 4 topics which were in today's newspapers. The first topic is appointment of chief ministers. We will be looking over this topic in a prelims perspective as well as its associated mains angle, that is the Election Commission of India, its issues and way forward. Second topic for today is the Zika virus. We will study this topic in a prelims point of view and certain areas that you need to know as far as mains is concerned. Third one is the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund Scheme. Again, this topic has both prelims and mains value. And the last topic for today is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. We need to look over this topic in a prelims perspective. So without further ado, let's quickly move on to our topics. The first topic for today is the appointment of chief ministers. So why was this in news? In today's Hindu, there is a news regarding the sudden exit of Tirath Singh Rawat as the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand. He failed to get elected as a legislator within 6 months. So, from prelims point of view, the major takeaway for us is the appointment or the conditions of appointment of Chief Minister. Okay, so we will be dealing with the appointment, tenure and functions associated to a Chief Minister. So, let's first look into the provisions regarding this. You need to know that Chief Minister is a real executive or the de facto executive and Governor is a de jure or the nominal executive. Right? You know Article 163 provides that there shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister at the head to aid and advise the governor in the exercise of his functions. Similarly, there is another article, Article 164. What does Article 164 say? It provides that the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor and other ministers shall be appointed by the governor on the advice of the chief minister. Okay, so remember that the constitution does not contain any specific procedure regarding the selection and appointment of a chief minister. Alright. Now, the chief minister has to be a leader of the majority party in the state legislature assembly. That is, the governor is not free to appoint anyone as a chief minister initially. In case of no majority in the assembly, then the governor may exercise his personal discretion in the selection and appointment of a chief minister. So, in such situation, that is in case of no majority, usually the largest party leader or the leader of the coalition in the assembly is appointed as the chief minister. And that chief minister, remember, has to seek vote of confidence in the house within 1 month. Am I clear? Okay. In the case of an untimely death of a chief minister without any obvious successor, the governor may again exercise his discretion. But generally what happens in such situation is that the ruling party elects a new leader and then the governor has no choice but to appoint him as the chief minister. Okay. Also, remember, a person is not required to prove his majority in the legislative assembly before his appointment as a chief minister. He needs to do it only after he is appointed. So, within the prescribed time by the governor. Alright, now coming to the point of discussion in this news, that is, a person who is not a member of the legislature can also be appointed as a chief minister. But what is the condition? Remember, he or she needs to get elected within 6 months as an MLA or MLC. Failure of which he or she will cease to exist as CM after 6 months. Clear? This was a condition with Tirath Singh and similar is a condition existing with Mamata Banerjee also. Remember, even if one loses the election, okay, even if one person loses the election, he or she can be a minister given again they must get elected within 6 months. This is the case with Mamata Banerjee. I hope it is clear. Now, regarding the tenure, so there is no fixed tenure and the chief minister will hold the office during the pleasure of the president. I hope you all know it. But he cannot be dismissed by the governor as long as he enjoys majority support in the assembly. You all might remember the S.R. Bommai versus Union of India case of 1994. Okay. In case of no majority or the loss of confidence, then he must either resign or the governor can dismiss him. Okay. Now, please go to the functions of chief minister in relation to council of ministers, governor, state legislature, etc., which is important for your mains, which is important in a mains perspective. Okay. Now, with regard to mains, we can look into another topic, that is the Election Commission of India, its issues or the limitations and possible way forward. You all know that Election Commission of India is a constitutional body and Article 324, remember Article 324 says that superintendence, direction and the control of all elections to Parliament, the state legislature, the offices of the President and the Vice President shall be vested in the Election Commission of India. I am not going to the further facts regarding ECI since we are doing this in a mains angle. Okay. So what are the issues or limitations? So with regard to mains, you should know what are the issues or limitations with Election Commission of India. We can broadly say there are structural and functional issues. I will not be getting into the minute details. So what can we say about the structural issues in a broader manner? That is, there is no constitutional status for other election commissioners other than CEC, and then the expenses of EC are not charged on the consolidated fund. We can say the election commission cannot deregister the political parties, right? Even though EC provides registration for political parties, it has no power to deregister parties. Then we can say there is no independent staff, the issues regarding the secretariat for ECI, etc. Okay, so these can be the structural issues. What can be the functional issues? We can say there is criminalization of politics. There is a case with false affidavits, right? Currently, in case of false affidavit, it attracts a 6 months imprisonment or fine or both, which is not considered a proper deterrent. So that is an issue. Then the alleged political favoritism or the misuse of religion for electoral gains. Okay, we know that under the existing provisions of the RP Act 1951, appeal on grounds of religion, race, etc. will all constitute corrupt practices, right? But the same cannot be a subject of inquiry before the commission when the election is in progress. So that is another issue. Then we can say there is lack of enforceability, right? The EC does not have the power to disqualify a candidate who commits electoral malpractices. Okay. Moreover, there is no provision in the RPA as well for adjournment of poll or countermanaging of election on the ground of bribery. What else can be said? It is the we can say the abrupt transfer of senior officials is another issue, because ECI cannot draw power from Article 324, or we can say ECI can draw power from Article 324 only when no law exists which governs a particular matter. This particular thing is ruled by the Article 309 of the Constitution, okay, which cannot be bypassed by the ECI. So these are the major issues regarding or limitations existing with Election Commission of India. So all the above discussed points or the above discussed area can be studied as a case of independence of ECI as well. Okay. Now coming to the way forward, what can be the possible way forwards? Like amendment of the Constitution, that is providing constitutional status to EC, expenses to be charged on CFI, the independent secretariat, all these can be made. All these amendments can be made to the Constitution. Then we can suggest some amendments to RTA, right? Like a person cannot contest from more than one constituency at a time, and then give EC the power to deregister parties. The punishment for filing false affidavits under section 125A to be increased to a minimum of 2 years. What else? Like paid news make paid news an electoral offence. Filing of false affidavits made a corrupt practice. All these can be made, or all these suggestions can be given for the amendments of RTA. Now coming to decriminalization of politics, we can say amend the CRPC, like making bribery in election a cognizable offence, or misuse of religion for electoral practices be made an electoral offence. Then amending of anti-defection law can also be said, that is, in spite of speakers, let the president or governor decide on disqualification of MP or MLAs on the advice of EC, right? I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, so let's see our second topic, that is Zika virus. This was in news because Kerala has reported its first Zika virus infection. Note that this is not the first time Zika is reported in India. Okay, now what is a Zika virus, or what is a Zika fever? Alright, so Zika virus is a mosquito-borne flavivirus, that is a member of the Flaviviridae, and hence it is a vector-borne disease. Clear? It was first identified in the Zika forest. Okay, it was first identified in the Zika forest in Uganda in 1947, initially in monkeys. Later, it was identified in humans in Uganda itself. From then on, several outbreaks of Zika has been reported, that is in Africa, America, Asia, Pacific, etc. Now, remember that the Zika virus is transmitted primarily by the Aedes mosquitoes. When I say Aedes, it's not just Aedes aegypti, but Aedes albopictus as well. Okay, remember that this can also be sexually transmitted, that is, sexual transmission or intrauterine infections of Zika virus is also possible. Clear? Now, while anyone can contract to Zika, pregnant women are the most at risk due to the potential for fetal microcephaly and other neurologic abnormalities. So, if a woman is bitten by an infected mosquito and becomes infected, Zika can cross into the placenta and affect the fetus. So, in a fetus, it may lead to microcephaly, severe brain malfunctions, severe brain malfunctions and other birth defects, whereas in adults it may result in Guillain-Barré syndrome. Okay, so till date, remember, there is no vaccine or medicine for Zika virus. Now let's look into some associated facts. So let's see what is microcephaly. Microcephaly is a medical condition in which the brain does not develop properly, resulting in a smaller than normal brain. It may be present at birth or it may develop in the first few years of life. Children with microcephaly are seen having intellectual disability, poor speech and motor function, abnormal facial features, dwarfism, seizures, etc. Recently, the researchers have found that envelope protein, or we say the E protein of Zika virus, was responsible for the neural abnormalities. Okay. Now come to Guillain-Barré syndrome. What is it? It is a rapid onset muscle weakness in which the body's immune system attacks part of the nervous system. Okay. In the similar fashion, you can also go through dengue, chikungunya and other vector-borne diseases also. Okay. Now, when looked over in a mains angle, you should know the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. It was already discussed in a previous ENbreezEN session. So, for those who wish to watch that video, we will be providing the link for the same in our description box. Okay. Similarly, the role of international agencies like that of WHO in dealing with similar outbreaks, okay, or pandemics must also be looked over. I hope it is clear. Now coming to our third topic, that is Agriculture Infrastructure Fund Scheme. This was in news because the Union Cabinet decided to extend the central sector scheme of financing facility under the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund to state agencies, APMCs, as well as the Federation of Cooperative Organizations, FPOs and self-help groups. Okay. So, as far as we are concerned, we should know what is the scheme. So, what is the scheme? It is a new Pan-India Central Sector Scheme. Okay, it is a new Pan-India Central Sector Scheme. It was announced in July 2020 in the wake of pandemic to give boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Remember, it is a 1 lakh crore Agri Infrastructure Fund which can be utilized for creating farm gate infrastructure. Also, it works under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Am I clear? Alright. The scheme provides for kind of medium to long-term debt financing facility for investment in viable projects, that is for the creation of post-harvest management infrastructure and community farming assets. The duration of the scheme was initially from 2020 to 2029, that is for 10 years, but it has been extended from 10 to 13, that is from 2032 to 2033 now. Okay. Under the scheme, as I already mentioned, 1 lakh crore will be provided by the banks and financial institutions as loans to self-help groups, farmers, joint liability groups, we can say agri entrepreneurs, startups, marketing cooperative societies, etc. Okay. Now, as it is clear from the news, now it is extended to certain other parties as well, that is state agencies, APMCs, national and state federations of cooperatives, Federation of Farmers Producer Organizations and Federation of Self-Help Groups. Remember that all loans under this facility will have an interest subvention of 3% per annum up to a limit of 2 crore. Okay? All loans under the facility will have an interest subvention of 3% per annum up to limit of rupees 2 crore. This subvention will be available for a maximum period of 7 years. Okay. Also, for up to a loan of 2 crore, a credit guarantee coverage will be available for eligible borrowers under the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises scheme. Alright, and finally, please remember that this fund will be managed and monitored through an online management information system with monitoring committees at national, state and district level. Am I clear? From the GS3 point of view, it is expected that you know few things like what is the Model APMC Act, the provisions of APMC Act, what is ENAM. Okay. So, I hope you know that APMC is a marketing board established by the state governments in order to eliminate the exploitation of farmers by the intermediaries. Also, please remember that agriculture is a state subject. Okay. Agriculture is a state subject. You should also know what is FPO. Okay. FPO, the benefits emanating from FPO, initiatives towards promoting FPOs, and you can also say certain initiatives like the one district, one products, etc. Okay. So, I hope it is clear. Now, coming to a last topic, that is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Now, this was in news because of India's strong reaction towards an OIC or the Organization of Islamic Cooperation statement in which the OIC proposed to assist in a dialogue between India and Pakistan. Okay. The news also says India asked the OIC to be watchful that their platform is not subverted by these Western interests for comments on internal affairs of India or for anti-India propaganda. So, as far as we are concerned, again, the takeaway for us from this news is with regard to UPSC prelims, that is OIC. Okay, so what is OIC? It is an organization of Islamic cooperation. It was previously known as the Organization of Islamic Conference. Okay. Remember, it is the second largest intergovernmental organization after the United Nations. It has a membership of 57 states and it endeavors to safeguard and protect the interest of the Muslim world. Okay. It was an outcome of the 1969 Rabat Islamic Summit. Please remember, it was an outcome of the 1969 Rabat Islamic Summit which took place in Morocco, and it officially came to being in 1970-72 period. Okay. 1970-72 period. It is headquartered in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and as far as we are concerned, this is our point of interest, right? That is, India is not a member of OIC. Okay. So, those were the topics that we had to discuss today. Now, there were other topics like the Personal Data Protection Bill, National Security Act, role of social media, etc. in the paper as well, which are equally important from our examination point of view. So, make sure that you go through these topics. Okay, these topics will be covered in the ENbreezEN in due time. Moreover, few other topics like the Indo-Afghan relations, Indo-China border disputes, National Green Tribunal, International Court of Justice, new IT rules, etc. were also in today's newspaper. But as we have already discussed, came across these topics in our previous ENbreezEN sessions, I am not repeating it all again. Hence, if you wish to watch those videos, we are providing the links in the description box as well as in the PDF. Okay. So, feel free to check it out and have a thorough understanding of those topics. So, with that we are concluding our session. I hope whatever we had just discussed is clear to everyone. I hope to see you all in the coming days as well. Thank you and have a great day.